Vladimir answering raves. When should a ref stop a fight? I haven't done one of these type of vlogs in a long time, generally predictions, but I figured that I had to weigh in about this particular stoppage that took place in the main event of Chiesa versus Lee. And if you just watch the fight, like when it happened, and you see what was going on, it looked like Lee had Chiesa's neck, his arm was tucked under the neck, and it looked like something was going to happen. It was very tight, and you were waiting. Oh, it looked like he was going to tap, his arms were doing something, and he was getting really red, and then you're waiting for that climax, and then the fight stopped, and I'm like, wait a minute, he didn't tap. And then he got up and had the same reaction that he didn't tap, and I was wondering, wow, that's a shame that happened like that. And a lot of people were thinking the same thing. And I just started thinking, because recently what happened was there was a terrible tragedy against a combat fighter named Tim Hague. This was a guy I actually watched in the UFC. He was a heavyweight, and he was suffering several knockouts, especially after he left the UFC and started to fight and continued to fight. He was in a boxing match, he got knocked out, had a serious brain injury, and he died as a result of what happened. Now this is a different type of situation. It's not a knockout, it's a choke. However, you have to think, how long should a ref wait? Should a ref wait till a guy is unconscious? Or should he just look like in a situation where he's about to go unconscious? Should he wait for the tap? Shouldn't he wait for the tap? What is a referee supposed to do? It's a split-second decision, and he has to protect the fighter. Now, it's very hard to tell. And the question is, medically, what can a choke do? To wait for somebody to be unconscious, can that be a dangerous thing? No oxygen going into the body. The guy's being choked. Oxygen can't get there. And then the carotid arteries are being pressed. I mean, the human body's fragile. So what should happen here? Now, I was thinking about this because if you look at many fights where guys are caught in a rear naked choke, or a Dosh choke, or different types of chokes that they have, you generally see either the fighter's body goes limp, the arms fall, or the fighter taps. That seems to be the consensus. I've never seen a fight where a guy's arms are flailing and maybe about to tap, and then the referee stops the fight. So in that context, you could say it was an early stoppage. If you see what I'm talking about, just watch fights where you have a choke about to happen, right? It's usually the fighter's unconscious or the fighter taps. I have never seen a fight being stopped where the fighter didn't tap and was still conscious. Now the question is, was he conscious? Was he semi-conscious? His arms were up. I mean, there was no hand fighting though. The hand fighting stopped and the arms were moving. Maybe he was contemplating whether he should tap or not. You do see that sometimes with fighters, like they're almost ready to tap and then they don't because they can feel they can get out, or maybe they can feel like they're breathing again. It's a very difficult thing to determine. And according to Chiesa, he said that he wasn't going to tap. He said that he figured that he would be able to get out of it. And he did pop right back to his feet. So that really proves that, you know, he may not even have been semi-conscious because he was, you know, full of energy, ready to go. Usually when guys are just, you know, ready to go unconscious, or especially if they're unconscious, they're either laying there or they don't feel like getting up. It's just a bad feeling, and probably a lot of dizziness and weakness in their body. But that wasn't the case. I mean, he popped back up and he started to protest. So in that situation, it looked like it may have been an early stoppage. However, what should be the consensus now? I mean, it could be that because of what happened with the recent death of a combat fighter, which was in boxing, maybe referees are being more cautious. They know what happened. And maybe that was the reason why it was done. I don't know. I mean, sometimes you see fights which are stopped too late, right? Guys taking too much unnecessary punishment, so that goes the other way. And, you know, of course, there's other different types of submissions. You know, you can have like a submission with an arm, or a knee, or an ankle, and it's terrible if a fight gets stopped too late as a result of an injury, but those aren't really life-threatening. There's never been a fatality or a serious injury as a result of a fighter going unconscious or a fighter tapping. The question is, what's the Athletic Commission's stand on this? So maybe based on the appeal, the Athletic Commission will look at this. Imagine if this was a situation where it was a triangle choke, where someone's legs are wrapped around the person's neck. I mean, you would think that's more leverage, right? But generally, you see refs letting them fight out of it. Their hands are trying to pull out, their hands are moving around, they're not fighting the legs, or at a point they're moving around like he was when he was down with the rear naked choke, but you don't see those fights getting stopped. I can't remember a fight getting stopped like that unless the fighter goes unconscious, and that's generally when the hands drop. His hands weren't dropping it. It's possible he may have tapped, but he wasn't given the opportunity to do so. And he wasn't unconscious either, because he got right back up to his feet. So it's very hard to tell. And it's something that's important to talk about, because we're talking about fighter safety, we're talking about rules, we're talking about what referees should do. And what do you guys think? I would like to know what you think. Please leave your comments, please subscribe, please like up this video, and thank you for tuning in.